Well, good morning and welcome to the Mayor's Weekly. We're pleased that you're with us today, and March winds down, spring has arrived, and hopefully we make it through the next couple of weeks without damaging weather. I hope so. Today, joining me is a lifelong resident of Jasper, a longtime friend of mine. We worked together. Al McAdams. Al, I know you know where you're at. Your mom served as a city clerk for how many years here?
Lord, she worked here from the time she was 17 till she retired. I think she was 60, except for a few years in there when I was in elementary school. So.
I knew that Dot McAdams had worked for the city for many, many years. And Al, we've been doing this now for about 4 years, and we've talked about a lot of things here, the inner workings of the city, projects that's going on, and something that came to my mind back during the Christmas holidays. I said, I want to begin to have some sessions where we talk about Jasper and the changes we've seen, not to call attention to anybody or whatever, and but one of the things, and we'll talk about this a little bit, there's an old saying out there that the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I'll kick it off with my early remembrances of as a child. 19th Street was just bustling. Of course, that was a time, that was before malls and that sort of thing. All the retail shopping was in downtown Jasper, wasn't it?
It was. And I was thinking about it this morning. You know, we had department stores, you know, Hayes and Weinstein's and Ingles, and you had men's stores, women's stores, barbershops, beauty shops, sporting goods, the Jasper Theater, which was so great, and just a little of everything. And it was all downtown. It was great.
And Walker County came here for those services. I mean, to buy dry goods, food, that sort of thing. And I don't know if I remember it being operational or not, but this company's long gone. But A&P, the Atlantic Pacific Tea Company, was right over here and had been in operation for years, hadn't it?
Right. I can remember going in that store one time, and I was probably in there more than one time, but the reason I remember it, the plaid stamp lady was greeting you as you walked in, you know, and she was dressed in a plaid skirt.
Well, you look at the way things were in those days, and then, of course, you and I spent our working life in downtown Jasper, and so we've seen it from way up here to way down here, and now we're way back up here, and that brings us back. The more things change, the more they stay the same. But there was a time when downtown Jasper was just completely lifeless, was it? I mean, in a not too distant past.
It was, and you're right. It's very few years ago, and other than some law offices, there was, and you know, a jewelry store and a men's store. There was pretty much nothing else here, and it was so sad to me because I'd seen it when it was booming, and but what a great comeback! It
is huge, and so much credit goes to the folks at Main Street. I've told this, and you know, not many times you want to say I'm happy I was wrong, but I remember when I first heard about Main Street, and I think I labeled it a flavor of the week, and how wrong I've been, and I'm glad I've been wrong, and things continue to show life in downtown Jasper. I look across the street here on 19th Street, and I remember people that worked in downtown, your two, and help me with this if I get this wrong, your two places for lunch in downtown Jasper was at the drugstore or at Woolworths, is that right?
That's right. You had a lunch counter. You could stand there on the corner of 3rd Avenue and 19th Street, and you had Vance's drugstore had a lunch counter. Woolworths had a lunch counter. Lanthrop's drugstore had a lunch counter.
Now, that would have been, how far, I don't recall Lathrop, how far back would that probably been, Al?
Early 60s.
Early 60s, okay, that, I wouldn't remember that, but I remember Vance's, and I think about if you went over and if you were eating at either Black Rock or Johnny Brusco's, somewhere in there, you'd be sitting exactly where the lunch counter was at Woolworth, wouldn't you?
I think Black Rock's where Lanthrop's was.
Really?
Right, and
Johnny
Brusco's is where
I remember it was on the east side of the building, and a lot of people would go there. Now, Vance's drugstore, that was the one on the corner where Jimmy King's office is at today, right?
That's right.
And here's something I remember about that, and I'm going to call on your memory. But long before we had cell phones and sophisticated photography devices and that sort of thing, Kodak ruled the day. And they had a big counter in there that was devoted. You take your film in there and get it developed by film. Maybe, I don't remember if it's so. And there was a lady, that was her job. What's her name? Dora? You remember?
I remember.
Dark hair, but that was her full-time job.
And I remember that. Even when I first came to the bank, and we'd have to buy, film for our camera, that's where we went,
Yeah. And but I remember, that was that lady's sole job, and she stayed busy. Selling film and developing pictures, or getting them developed. I'm sure they sent away. Another thing that I remember is you go back to where downtown had just kind of died. You go back to the days of Ike and Babe May and Bernard Weinstein and Sidney Ziff and his brother Frank. Joe in the dry goods business. There was a pride in Jasper then as a young person. I could see it. I think we lost that pride for some time, don't you?
We did. And all those people you're talking about, those merchants were the leaders of Jasper.
Yeah.
And they just kind of went away. The big box stores put a lot of them out of business, but we lost a lot when we lost those merchants, those downtown merchants.
Well, and some of it, and I'm not being critical, but generational changes brought some of it, and you see it in civic organizations. I'm not being critical of folks that are younger, but a lot of those folks don't have an interest in civic organizations. We see it at Rotary and Quanta. Those attracting members are more difficult than it used to be. But I saw that pride go away, but I believe that pride's back today, and there's no question about it. And downtown there's probably not a week goes by that I don't have somebody talk to me about, talk favorably about downtown Jasper, particularly people that maybe grew up here, come back, or people that live away from Jasper, maybe over in Marion County, Winston County, about how much they enjoy coming here and having a meal in downtown Jasper. And I know there's a lawyer that came to town from Decatur some time back, and he was coming here to meet with a Jasper lawyer. And I learned this from a Jasper lawyer, and he called us and he said, "What is going on in downtown Jasper? I can't find a parking place."
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and that's something I was just thinking about. You used to go here through town after 5 o'clock, and there was not a car, and it was like a ghost town. And now you go through 6, 7 o'clock at night, and there's hardly a place to park.
Yeah, it's and our sales tax revenues, and that's what municipalities live on, has shown significant growth, and that allows us to do things. Early remembrance I have, and you're going to have a familiarity with both of these. What Walker College basketball meant to the city, and we'll get back to that. And then Saturday morning at Bernard's, that was kind of the downtown social center, was it not? It was whether it was talking about Alabama Auburn football or what had happened in biking football the night before, but always a big gathering there, was it not?
It was. And Bernard was such a great citizen of Jasper. And
Oh, he
a
was.
great sports fan.
And I don't know if it was you and I talking about this, but I worked for Bernard a little while. Great guy, and he and what was Vic's last name?
Robbins.
Vic Robbins. Vic, but Bernard smoked Pall Mall cigarettes. And, he could keep it in the corner of his mouth, and the ash on the end of that cigarette, it would never break off. But Vic could maybe have a customer in there trying on a suit, and Bernard would come walking down through there, and he's like, Vicky, have you ever seen a suit fit a man like that? Sold. You remember
he was
that?
a master at it.
He was a master at it. Now you go back to, and I can remember Walker College basketball, where you just packed the gym, and the competition in that league of play was top drawer. I know we'd go somewhere out, maybe out to Missouri, and where all would we go and play tournaments, Al?
Play Florida, Gulf Coast, and Chipola junior colleges in Panama City, Marianna, Florida. The Missouri you're talking about was
Three Rivers, wasn't
Three
it?
Rivers, Missouri. They went out there for years. A great program Three Rivers had, and
And that sort of thing, I think, is again, not being critical of now Bevel basketball or whatever, but it's probably lost some of its flavor to a lot of people. But that was they'd play a game or two a week, and it would fill up, wouldn't it?
Oh, we were talking just a few days ago. The kids would get to the gym an hour early to get a seat on the front row, and it would be standing room only every game.
Yeah.
We would host a lot of years the state tournament and the regional tournament here in Jasper in that gym that really didn't have a lot of seating. I think it held 1,700 or something.
And Coach Clem became iconic. I mean, he was one of a kind, and I always wondered that I think maybe it was his shoes, and that he didn't end up in Division I coaching, but certainly had the ability.
He would have been a great one. He always said he had the third best basketball job in the state to Alabama and Auburn's.
Yeah.
And he believed that, I think.
We love Jasper. Jasper, and one thing I say about this city, and for some folks will say I'd be biased, and exactly right, but the time that you and I spent in the banking business, I've seen a lot of people come to Jasper from different areas, and I don't know that I can ever recall anybody telling me we don't like Jasper, Alabama. I was talking to a person some few weeks back, and been living here maybe just inside of 20 years, talking about, we came here scratching our head whether or not we made a mistake. We absolutely love Jasper. And you think about what a great place to live. And I've had the good fortune to travel extensively, globally, and I've never been anywhere that caused me to want to leave Jasper, Alabama. I mean, you think about inside of 30 minutes away from world-class health care is really not much a person could need or want that couldn't be satisfied in Birmingham. You come back, a good school system, a quality of life, and I understand that that this could change at the snap of a finger, but when you look at our city compared to other cities, our crime rate's pretty good.
It is.
And
I think about Gary Cowan on the city council here. He was a physician here. He left Jasper, went into private business, and I think they sold that business. I'm not sure, but he could have moved anywhere he wanted to.
Right.
And he chose to come back to Jasper. What a great testament to
quite
Jasper.
a testament of the kind of city we have. Al, as we look to the future at things that I hope will begin to change. I think it's beginning to change. We need more young people in our city to carry this, young people that love this city, that can carry this city forward. The meetings I go to, the things I'm involved with, the majority of the folks in our age group, and we need young folks stepping up that care about Jasper, and let's stay on the path we're on. Yesterday in this room I had my leadership meeting. I bring in all of our department heads, and we talk about what I told the folks when I was first elected, that it's important you know what's going on in your city. It's important you know about our finances, you know our challenges, our opportunities, and we talked about those things yesterday. It's the right thing to do, and people appreciate that. But we're on an upward path. That what we know about fiscal year 2021, midway point's just days away. That's the end of March, and Kathy Shamlis has been doing the chief financial work for over 30 years. You get to this point, she can pretty well project where you're going to end the year at 6 months down the road. She knows we've got back to school, we've got summer, they spend more money, that sort of thing. And we have, and what we know at this point, barring something really bizarre or something unforeseen to come our way, we will finish with the largest surplus that it's been recorded year to date. We came here 4 years ago. We set a record year one, year two beat year one, year three beat year two, year four beat year three, and year five is going to surpass any one of those years in a major way. Puts you in a position to do things that we need to do, ratchet it up. We're winning on, I think, every front. That's what I told our people yesterday. But I said, the higher you get up in the tree, the greater the risk of fall. And yesterday we talked about mindset, we talked about attitude, and how we're going to run this city and the role they play in making sure that we don't have any reversals. I don't think we will. And so that's been rewarding to me. Those are the kind of rewards, in my opinion, that anybody that gets in the political arena, that should be their only reward. Nothing for me. I mean, I didn't come here. Of course, you saw, you were right beside me. I made the decision to run. You seen it the whole way. Had no aspirations of doing anything for David. I told the people, if you elect me, I'll go to work for you and try to do that. And that's what we've done. And it is exciting to see people's work lives get better, to see our city be the kind of city that you and I both know it can be. So it's been an exciting time.
You've done a great job the last 4 years.
Well,
we appreciate it.
Well, we're looking forward to continue to notch it up, make those things happen, and but it is fun to kind of look back on the past. And we won't get into it much today, but something that's kind of been lost. Jasper had so many colorful characters, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Then I mean comical folks and people that had a uniqueness about them. I think about Johnny McPoland and his radio program, and I said if you go to Bernard's on Saturday morning, you'd run into a lot of colorful folks, and that's not off color. I'm talking about just good, genuine folks that you like to be around.
This town had them.
Pardon?
This town had colorful people and big personalities.
Right, and you don't see much of that anymore. I don't think Jasper's unique, but you don't see those shoes being filled, do you? At least
No.
And that's it. Well, Al, I appreciate you coming out this morning and sharing with us your remembrances of this city, and we stay committed to this city, Kat, and I said I hope that we see young folks come along that we can entrust the city to, and they'll love it as much as we love it, and carry it to the next level. So appreciate you being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll look forward to being with you next week. Stay safe, and I hope we can get past challenging weather and move on into Pretty Spring and get outside and do some things. So again, I'm pleased to have you with us, and we'll look forward to being with you next week. Thank you.